Today I'm going to be doing a battery drain test between the S23 Ultra versus the iPhone 14 Plus and the 14 Pro Max. Comment down below right now who's going to come out on top. If you like the wallpapers, link will be down below to my wallpaper pack if you're interested. Now all devices are fresh out the box, so the battery health is at 100%. In terms of the screen brightness, I'm keeping it at 50% with auto brightness disabled or adaptive brightness on the S23. Extra brightness is disabled, with the screen resolution on the S23 Ultra set to WQHD+, with the color palette set to vivid. Now, I am going to be clearing out all the apps, so we're having a fresh new start here, and I think we are ready to start this test. So of course, I'm going to be unplugging them to start the timer, and they are off. So I am using an iPhone 13 Pro as a timer. I am going to start things off with a YouTube video. Gotta watch the best YouTuber here on the platform, Simplypops, which, by the way, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys click on that subscribe button with notifications on. But 20 minutes of YouTube is pretty fair. 21 minutes in, the 14 Plus is at 100%, and as well as the 14 Pro Max, but the S23 Ultra is at 99%. Still good, but both the iPhones has an advantage. Browsing around on Instagram for about 20 minutes, the Pro Max dropped by 1%, bringing it into 99%. The Plus is still at 100%, and the S23 Ultra is at 97%. Heading over to Twitter, this is where you test out the refresh rate. Of course, the Plus has a 60 Hz panel, while the S23 Ultra and the Pro Max has an adaptive refresh rate of 120 Hz. In 10 minutes of Twitter, the Plus is still at 100%, while the S23 is at 96%. The Pro Max is at 98%, so it's not looking good for the Ultra so far, but all of these phones are still doing pretty good. So now, time for TikTok. I'm just going to be on here for about 10 minutes. And I'm still very impressed how the Plus is still at 100%. The S23 is now at 95%, and the Pro Max is at 96%. So really, bravo to the Plus model. It is the absolute champ so far. So taking over to YouTube Music. And normally you'll connect your AirPods or Bluetooth headphones, but I'm not going to be doing that for this battery drain test, but utilizing the speakers just in general, listening to music for 20 minutes. The Plus is at 98%, the S23 Ultra is at 93%, and 94% on the 14 Pro Max. The 14 Pro Max is slipping away just a little bit compared to the S23 Ultra, but the Plus is in a league of its own. But nonetheless, it is time for some gaming. So I have Subway Surfer here, and as you can see very easily, the Pro Max is at 91, 90 on the S23 Ultra, and 95 on the Plus. So kicking over to YouTube yet again. I like how all the apps memorize in the background so far. Let me remind you, the Ultra has 12 gigs of RAM, while the iPhones, both the Pro Max and the Plus, has 6 gigabytes of RAM. So 30 minutes of YouTube, 93 on the Plus, while on the Ultra we have 88 and 89 on the Pro Max. And back on Instagram, I noticed the apps had to refresh, which is fine. It opens up fast, but that's just regular on Instagram. Then of course I had to take it over to IG Reels to see what's going on there, and some of these Reels, they support HDR. We're going to test that out in a little bit. 2 hours and 44 minutes in, I decided to hit back to Twitter to see if it recognized in the background, see if it memorized, doing more scrolling. And I gotta say, having 120 Hertz, silky smooth compared to 60, looks so choppy. Almost hitting to that 3 hour mark. We had 85 on the Pro Max, 85 on the Ultra, and 90% on the Plus. So neck on neck on the Ultra versus the 14 Pro Max. So about 10 minutes of TikTok, we had 89 on the Plus, 84 on the Ultra, and 83 on the Pro Max. This is going to be the absolute battery drain test right here. The cameras, 30 minutes of recording 4K at 60 frames per second on all the devices. This is where we really start to see its true colors. The Ultra is at 73%, 71 on the Pro Max, 75 on the Plus. The Pro Max is falling behind to the Ultra by 2%, but heading back into Subway Surf, I love the fact how it memorized in the background on all these devices. And alright, 4 hours in, 71 on the Ultra, 69, nice, on the Pro Max, and 73% on the Plus. Let me remind you, by the way, I'm heading back into the YouTube Music app. The Ultra has a 5000 milliamp battery, while the Plus and the Pro Max has a 4323 milliamp. The higher the milliamp, the larger the battery is, so give or take, it's still pretty impressive to see the Plus taking in the lead, but still very interesting to see the Ultra at second place with the ultra high resolution display, vividness, all the power, and still have that percentage. From this point on, I'm doing the same test back on Twitter, testing out that refresh rate, back on Instagram Reels. And something to keep in mind of, you're not gonna have your phone on 4 hours straight. There's gonna be 10 minutes of TikTok, then you're gonna put your phone to sleep, and then you get back on to TikTok and vice versa. But nonetheless, 5 hours in, we had 62% on the Pro Max, 64 on the Ultra, and 67 on the Plus. And okay, time to shake things up yet again, launching up the camera application, this time recording using the rear camera at 4K at 60 frames per second for about 28 minutes. And at this point on, I noticed the screens dimmed a little bit on the Pro Max, 49, 56 on the Ultra, and the Plus 56%. Now time to launch up a new game, Temple Run 2, an absolute classic. And it's my first time launching it up on the Plus and on the Pro Max because these are new phones, like I mentioned in the beginning. So 5 hours and 50 minutes in, 54 on the Ultra, 54 on the Plus, and 47 on the Pro Max. So now we're gonna head back onto Twitter. Yet again, all these devices memorize Twitter in the background, regardless of us playing Temple Run 2. Now I noticed on the Ultra, the screen was super yellow, so I disabled the eye comfort shield and True Tone on the iPhone just to maintain the quality of the video. And at this point on, I'm heading back into the YouTube music, this time playing some music videos. And at this point on, 6 hours and 31 minutes, 42 on the Pro Max, 50 on the Ultra, and 50 on the Plus. So it's looking like a tie between the Plus and the Ultra. Whoa there, buddy. What was that? All right, so back on good old Instagram, watching some Reels. Now notice I still have music playing in the background. You can see by the dynamic island, all these devices right now are playing music while looking at some IG Reels. But if you guys are enjoying the video so far, I appreciate it with a thumbs up. Comment down below what you guys think so far, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel with notifications on for more videos like this one. So 49% on the Plus, 49 on the Ultra, and 41 on the Pro Max. 6 hours and 39 minutes in, and I gotta say, not bad on all these devices, but the Plus and the Ultra is still coming out on top. So now it is time to get back into the camera application, but this time recording at 4K at 30 frames per second using the front facing camera. And remember, the Ultra can shoot up to 8K at 30 frames per second, but for the sake of this video, I'm not going to do that because the iPhone cannot record in 8K. That would make it an unfair advantage. So 22 minutes of recording video, that is bringing the phones into 31% on the Pro Max, 40 on the Ultra, and 39 on the Plus. Maybe the video that you just recorded, you want to upload it to TikTok, this is the time to do so. Maybe doing a little video edit in there. So I try to make this as realistic as possible, just utilizing your use case. I'm looking at this TikTok right now, and that's something I need right now in the kitchen. A juicer, man. Oh, I was just looking at that and I was like, oh, I need that. But anyway, that's the beauty of TikTok. You just learn something new every day on TikTok. But nonetheless, on TikTok, just making a use case scenario, if you were to upload and watch TikTok, you could be able to do so. So now you can see 7 hours and 29 minutes. We are at 38 on the Plus, while 39 on the Ultra, and 29 on the Pro Max side. Now finally, I decided to test out high dynamic range Instagram Reel, HDR Reels, I should have just said. And this is a common thing on Instagram. One moment you're watching a regular Reel, and then boom, you swipe up, now you're watching HDR Reels. So that's how it is. So I figured I put it to the test, and at this point on, this is a perfect time to actually test out the heat. So the hottest point on the Pro Max is 101 Fahrenheit, and the Ultra is 100 Fahrenheit, and the Plus is at 100.8 Fahrenheit. So pretty much all exactly the same. So getting close to the 8-hour mark, the Ultra is at 35%, the Plus is at 29%, and we at 20% on the Pro Max. So taking in the lead with the Ultra. 8 hours and 44 minutes in, I decided to do another video recording. I actually got the low battery warning on the Plus model. So now checking it in, you can see I'm at 15% on the Plus model and 21% on the Ultra, while 5% on the Pro Max. So now kicking things off, we had Asphalt 9, a very demanding game to say the least. Now that brings the phone to 5% on the Pro Max, 20% on the Ultra, and 15% on the Plus. Now Taking over to Instagram, this is where we finally see the Pro Max die at 9 hours and 42 minutes and 3 seconds, while the Ultra and the Plus is still going at it. Now, I must say, this is pretty incredible. I mean, the Ultra is packing in all the resolution and that adaptive refresh rate. As we see, we have the 10% low battery warning on the Plus. And let me remind you, the Plus is featuring the A15 Bionic chip, the same exact chipset on the iPhone 13 Pro series, while the S23 Ultra has the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. And now here we are on the camera app using the front-facing camera 4K at 60. We at 1% on the Plus and 6% on the S23 Ultra. Now, I wanted to watch a YouTube video. It's been a while, and of course the app's memorized in the background. I noticed the S23 is dimming the screen a little bit, so I have to go into the settings and raise up the brightness a little bit. But needless to say, 10 hours plus for a phone is absolutely incredible. And here we are. This is where we're going to see the Plus dies at 10 hours and 27 minutes, while the S23 Ultra is still going at it. So we at 5% on the Ultra, taking it over to TikTok, and you can see you can get more work done, you can play more games, you could just do a lot more on the Ultra while keeping that resolution at its max, having that adaptive refresh rate, and listening to music right now. And you can see this is where we're pulling through 2% so far and 1%, and eventually the S23 dies at 10 hours and 50 minutes, almost to 11 hours, which is incredible. And by the way, this is the longest battery drain test that I ever did in the channel, so props to the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, making it the longest battery life that I ever tested out so far. So yeah, let me remind you, it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. And to anyone who just skipped to the end of the video, how could you? And needless to say, bravo to Samsung with the Ultra. The phone is an absolute beast. If you guys enjoyed the video, I appreciate it with a thumbs up, subscribe when you're on here with notifications on, and comment down below what you guys think.